Get it off your chest. Slap the shit out of me and get it off your chest.
He's talking to you, sir.
Slap the shit out of me and get it off your chest. No, I'm giving you permission to slap the shit out of me, get it off your chest, and see what happens. Don't
Damn.
turn around. Turn around. Get up. That was stupid. No, I'm giving you permission to slap the shit out of me, get it off your chest, and see what happens. Don't
Damn.
The First Lady of the United States. Joined by the President and First Lady of the United States. And thank you, national fans, for your support.
Those people aren't chicken like the three of you, and they know that he passed a background check that the president's daughter and son-in-law didn't. Joining our
say what I think you said?
I don't know. Joining our conversation.
And maybe the most disgusting thing going on today is the president and his sycophants are questioning the patriotism and loyalty of an American combat veteran. Alexander Vindman, this guy served multiple tours of duty, including a combat tour in Iraq where he was awarded the Purple Heart. He got injured by a roadside bomb. So, of course, the first question for these Republicans is, how do we destroy this man?
We also know he was born in the Soviet Union, immigrated with his family, young. He tends to feel simpatico with the Ukraine.
Here we have a U.S. national security official who is advising Ukraine while working inside the White House, apparently against the president's interest, and usually they spoke in English. Isn't that kind of an interesting angle on this story?
I find that astounding, and some people might call that espionage.
Except those people aren't chicken like the three of you, and they know that he passed a background check that the president's daughter and son-in-law didn't.
Hey, Laura Ingraham, you're attacking a decorated veteran to protect Donald Trump? Who do you think you are, Donald Trump? And by the way, yes, Colonel Vindman emigrated from Ukraine when he was 3. Nobody even remembers where they were when they were 3.
It seems very clear that he is incredibly concerned about Ukrainian defense. I don't know that he's concerned about American policy, but his main mission was to make sure that the Ukraine got those weapons. I understand that. We all have an affinity to our homeland where we came from. He has an affinity, I think, for the Ukraine. He speaks Ukrainian, he came from the country, and he wants to make sure they're safe and free.
So that is some anti-immigrant bigotry, and it's an odd questioning of patriotism coming from Sean Duffy, the guy who spent part of his 20s on MTV's The Real World and Real World Road Rules Challenge, while Alexander Vindman spent his on foreign deployments.
I actually know Alex. I know Colonel Vindman. He is a first-rate military officer. He was an outstanding official at our embassy. He was appointed at the National Security Council because he is one of the best and the brightest. And the idea that somebody with his resume would not serve the United States of America is just disgusting. It's outrageous. And I want those people to apologize and to remember what they're doing when they take cheap shots at people like Colonel Vindman when they don't know his background and they don't know his history.
The Chinese crackdown on Uyghurs and other Turkic people has only gotten worse. I'm going to break it down for you. You may have heard that China has detained millions of Uyghurs and other Turkic Muslims in torture-ridden concentration camps and prisons, where they are forced to denounce their religion and ethnic identity. Over a year ago, the UN claimed 1 million people were held in camps, but that number has risen. Uyghur activists now estimate at least 3 to 5 million people are held in camps. What you may not know is that this is all happening in an occupied nation called East Turkestan, or what China has renamed to as Xinjiang. In fact, Xinjiang means new colony. China calls the people of East Turkestan ethnic minorities, despite them being natives of the land for thousands of years. After occupying the land in 1949, China has been attempting to slowly wipe out the nation. China calling us ethnic minorities is their attempt of erasing us, because for the longest time, we were actually the majority of our homeland. Many people identify this as an act of cultural genocide, and it very much is. China is wiping out East Turkestan's history, including the fact that we are an occupied nation, its language, culture, and influential leaders. China is destroying our mosques, homes, and even graveyards and turning them into museums, parks, or parking lots. But this is all much more than a cultural genocide. There is ample evidence showing that it is physical too. There have been numerous reports of death, torture, forced sterilization, organ harvesting while prisoners are alive, people being drugged with unknown substances that cause memory loss and mental derangement, rape, and forced abortions. Children are forcibly separated from their parents and sent to orphanages, forcing them to become Han Chinese and adopting them off to Chinese families. Thousands of Turkic detainees are being rounded up at night, put into trains, and sent to parts of mainland China to never be seen again. One former survivor of the camp system, Mehrigul Tursun, described how in her cell of 68 women, 9 women died during the 3 months she was detained. Now imagine, how many people would be dead if there are possibly more than 3 million Turkic people in camps and prisons? A cultural genocide can become a physical genocide when the former becomes too costly. The international community must start calling it a physical genocide before it is too late, because cultural genocide is not a defined crime in international law. And history has shown us that we often act too late, once the atrocities have already fully taken place. Unfortunately, it's not until we start seeing the mass graves that we call it a genocide. Recently, China has responded by claiming that 90% of these detainees have been released. But in reality, when they are released from these camps, they are transferred to prisons and sentenced to massive prison terms, anywhere from 10 to 15 years to life imprisonment. Or they become modern-day slaves, forced to work in factories with little to no pay. Most governments have been forced to remain silent on this issue because of their business deals with China. The US recently issued visa bans on all Chinese government officials or Communist Party members who have been complicit in this genocide, as well as blacklisted 28 Chinese companies linked in the abuses. There is something you can do. Call your representatives to support HR 649, or the Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act, a proposal aimed to hold China accountable for their actions and to end the abuses occurring in East Turkestan. Assess your university's relationship with China and call them out if they are silent or directly complicit on this issue. Hold awareness events on campus. MIT has partnered with 3 major Chinese companies, iFlyTech, Huawei, and SenseTime, that have built the surveillance technologies being used to oppress and round up people into camps. Call out MIT for being directly involved with these crimes against humanity. Go to saveuyghur.org to learn more on what you can do to help.
Yes, I actually had a stroke. Okay, I've had enough of this. Take your bag off. Take your bag off. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. You are done. Get off of me. You're done. What are you doing? You're done. Put your arms behind your back. Put your arms behind your back.
Ow! You're hitting my arm. Get off of me. Ow!
As soon as he asks you. Yes, I actually had a stroke, Jessica.
Turn over! Turn over!
Do not resist!
Do not resist! Stop resisting! Get off me! Ow! Stop resisting!
Please stop resisting.
Stop resisting!
Just stop, man.
Stop resisting! Stop! Put your arms behind your back! Let me get off!
Let's let her stand up. Officer Christensen, you need to allow her to stand up, sir.
Hey, let her try to stand
Officer
up.
Christensen, you need to allow her to stand up.
Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Get off of me! Stand up!
Hey,
Get off
Officer Christensen, she is not a threat to yourself or others at this moment.
Get off
You need to allow her to stand, sir.
Get off of me! I can't stand up because you're pushing. Get off of me! That's the point of arrest.
I understand that, sir. We are not going to use excessive force to get this done.
We're not excessive. Yes, it is. At this point.
Hey.
Leave me alone.
Like many of you, I was shocked and angry when I watched this video. There's no excuse for the way this girl was treated. As the Chief of Police, I'm extremely disappointed that we failed to perform at our expected standards. We value our relationship with our community and will continue to work hard to maintain the public's confidence in our department.